Good morning and welcome to Wise Women Weekdays. My name is Lucinda Wild. I forgot my name then.
I noticed. It's Monday.
Is that because of the new moon that's about to happen?
Yeah, possibly. Absolutely. I'm Claire the Oily Witch, and I too am a wise woman. And I think today we're going to be talking about astrology.
Astrology, I think.
Yes, we are going to be talking about astrology. And just to kind of give you some context, we have a new moon tomorrow in Sagittarius. This is the Reed moon. And no, it's not. It's the elder moon. It's the 13th tree moon if you follow the traditional calendar. And it is the second moon if you follow the witches or the pagan calendar, where it starts on the 1st of November.
So I've got a question. Why are there 13 moon cycles, 13 star signs? Is there 13 star
There's
signs?
12 star signs.
Oh, but why is there 13 moon cycles in a year, but only 12 months?
Because the calendar got changed. I think it was the Gregorian calendar got introduced, and because the moon is regarded as a very feminine entity, as we know, we have lunacy, hysteria, all of these things associated with the moon, associated with women, associated with all our extrasensory perceptive skills, which are scary because they're uncontrollable. The moon became perceived as something to disassociate humanity with. So by creating a 12-month year as opposed to a 13-month year, people would get confused, which is exactly what's happened. People don't know when the moon cycles are because they don't happen roughly at the same time every month. They happen on a 2 to 3 week basis. But we are out of flow, and it's another way of kind of separating us, I see.
So it's another way of containing femininity.
I would say so. I mean, that's definitely my view on it, 100%. It's a separation, and it's a kind of a damming. Like, we have these Celtic tree moons where we look at the moon calendar in terms of native trees, which I think is really beautiful. It's a pagan tradition, and there's 13 of them, obviously, and it's just beautiful to look at the world on that kind of understanding what that native tree is, what it means, and what the kind of general vibe is for what to expect from the kind of, I'd say, the colour of time, the mood of time. So we're under Elder at the moment. That's the 13th one. What's interesting about this 13th tree was it was used in the Bible as the crucifixion tree. This is what it was a tree that Judas was hung off. He was somebody that was, didn't he betray Jesus at the final supper or something like that?
Judas washed his hands of something, didn't he?
He got 13 pieces of silver, 13 pieces of silver
13
hung on the
witches in a
13th
coven.
tree. Yeah, all of that. Number 13 is a very, very powerful number.
It's not unlucky.
No, it's not unlucky at all. And so we're under this elder moon, which starts tomorrow. An elder is the tree that you want planted by the back door of your house because it's deeply protective.
Got some out the back over there.
It's medicinal on every level because you have the flowers in spring, summer, so you have them for Beltane, and then you have the berries around this time of year. Well, you have them in September, October. You make your elixirs for coughs and colds and this time of year, and to get you through the dark nights of winter.
I scoffed mine already.
I've still got quite a bit of mine left, but I'm having it every single day, and it's used as cough medicine in our house. But Elder's there to hold space for us while we continue our shadow walks at this time of year. And she is deeply, deeply protective, which is why she's a backdoor tree. And sounds quite rude.
What, Cosmo is huffing and puffing in the background.
He doesn't like the sound of Elder, but it's really misunderstood anyway. So this moon is also under Sagittarius. So what we've got is this energy for action, truth, spiritual journeys, etc., expansion, and obviously always with any kind of cycle or practice, the opportunity to release that which no longer serves and embrace that which is going to give us the future that we want to live, really.
And I don't know if I want to live the future that they've actually prescribed for us.
Well, that's the thing, Lucy. The future is unwritten.
Yes, it's speculation at the moment.
It is. And so, but what's interesting is we know what was, we know what is, but we don't know what will be. But what is and what was creates the filter for what will be. So if we fill our minds with things that aren't particularly positive, then we create something that isn't particularly positive. Whereas we keep our minds healthy, which doesn't mean entirely positive, by the way, there's a balance, then we get more of what we need to complete our life purpose.
Do we all have a life purpose then?
Well, this is what's so interesting in astrology chart readings. Yes, everybody has a purpose. Everybody is like a cog within the wheel, without a doubt. And whether your purpose is simply being the light to trigger somebody else's catalytic change, or whether you are leading a lifetime full of endless change and trauma because you've chosen, to develop quite quickly, is written in the chart. It's really interesting, but yeah, everyone has a purpose.
Everyone has a purpose.
Without a doubt. Everyone has gifts and everyone has a purpose.
Even non-player characters.
Everyone has a purpose because everybody, as I said, some people are there to help other people become who they are, and people are there to play good guys, bad guys. It's, this is the thing about Earth. It's this kind of continuum. It's a polarity space. And what we have to do is we've got all this kind of yin, yang, so above, so below, all of these things. And we have to kind of find the unity in all of it. It's like the acceptance at all levels.
Yes, that makes sense. So do animals have horoscopes and astrology the same way that we do? Because I wonder what Cosmo would be.
Oh, without a doubt they would do, because they've got a birth time and a birth date. So why wouldn't they? Any living thing has been born at that precise moment with those particular astrological kind of configurements to give them their purpose. If nothing, I believe, is not by design.
Cosmo truly is the Dark Overlord. That is his purpose. To sit on his poof and stare down at the world and judge them.
Well, no, he gives you a lot of pleasure and other people that come into his kind of orbit. So that's kind of, there's the flip side, so it's not just negative, it's positive as well.
Because I remember you saying a few weeks ago in Circle that some people have bad existences, so they can learn to have a good existence the next time around.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be as good, as wise as we are, if we didn't have experiences of the complete continuum. So all of us will have had lifetimes where we've been the bad guy or the bad woman to a greater or lesser extent. We will have all done that, and we all would have been the good person, because we need to have both. We need to understand both sides, and you don't get wisdom unless you've experienced the whole experience. Does that make sense?
Yes,
both sides of it.
I hope the people from Just Stop Oil just heard what you said.
Why? Tell me about that.
Oh God, they're so... I don't know how to say it politely.
Oh, I'm presuming these are the people that keep stopping.
The people that are standing in the middle of the road, stopping people getting to hospital appointments and injuring pregnant women and all sorts of things in the name of saving the planet. They're actually just insane. They've destroyed valuable pieces of art.
I think that, they might not regard them as valuable pieces of art, and I would say with those people is they play a part, if nothing else, than to get people to realise what their own values are. So in comparison to what their actions are, you get an opinion about what you think you are, and our greatest intention is to find out everything we can about ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves.
Taking responsibility for themselves is a big thing. I know I try to.
You do, yeah.
And I do a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
Do we all do that?
Well, I do it too, but a lot of people don't. You're right. They go around transferring their issues because they're not aware. I think it's not out of malicious intention. I think it's just simply ignorance. And this is one of the reasons why astrology is so helpful. So getting your chart done and understanding who you truly are gives you the framework to appreciate the parts of yourself which you cannot change, that you just need to work on accepting and taking ownership of, so that you don't keep looking externally for validation or blaming everyone else for something that's actually yours.
Because I actually have a star chart here.
Oh!
I wonder who it belongs to. It's actually mine, but we're not going to pick it all apart. I'm just going to pick out a few things.
This is not set up in any way. I have no idea what she's going to ask me.
No, and I don't know what I'm going to ask you either.
Which might be easier. When we're looking at astrology, when I'm reading a chart, I look at 14 different placements of planets. I look about how they're getting on with each other and what kind of dominant polarity you are, whether you're yin, whether you're yang, whether you're Western dominant, whether you're Eastern dominant, which is your
Right, so
ruling
what
element.
is West dominant element then? There's a lot of things on here I don't quite understand.
West dominant element, West element dominant, even tongue twister, means that most of the emphasis of your chart is, like, all your planets are on the west side of your chart. Now the charts are all kind of in reverse, so that means over what you would regard as the eastern side of the chart, if you didn't know any better.
No, that can't be
No,
seen.
Don't show that either. It's private to you. Or someone can get an awful lot of information about you from that. That's as good as basically putting your bank account details up there, which is why I didn't particularly want you to go into too much detail. That's you. So it's not a good idea. It's got all your birth details, everything.
Oh, well, it couldn't be seen anyway. So
which is just as well. So West element dominant means that basically your kind of powers, your emphasis comes from the West. So it doesn't mean that you are entirely a Western girl. It means that basically water rules the West. So it's kind of like water is kind of a very important element for you in terms of that. And that is mixed because you've also got a lot of fire, haven't you?
All fire and earth. Which
and now
means...
you've got water as well. So the water gives the nourishment, and you're very psychic. So you've got the fire in the earth, but then because the emphasis of the chart is in the West, that brings in kind of a wateriness to it, which is true.
Well, because I don't actually have water in my chart, you said.
Yeah, you don't have it in where the placement of the planets, but it's where you go, for kind of feeling nourished and things like that. Yeah. But it's there. That's why it works for you, because you're West element dominant, so you're adding that in. Does that make any better sense?
It does, sort of, yeah. But there's other words on here, like quadruplicities. I was going to say quadrupledics.
No. It is basically everybody has a kind of ruling energy type. So there's 3, cardinal, mutable and fixed. In fact, it goes cardinal, fixed, mutable. And there's 12 star signs, and each one runs in that set of 3. So Capricorn is cardinal, Aquarius is fixed, Pisces is mutable, and it runs like that throughout the whole year. And it just gives us more information about what kind of energy you carry. So yours is like predominantly cardinal. So somebody who's got lots of cardinal energy is really good at starting things up, being a leader, getting things going. But they do like a lot of action and they hate being busy. So if there isn't a crisis, they might just create one just for the sake of having something to clear up. Whereas someone who's very fixed is very established in their ways. They need and like routine. They take a while to get going, but once they start going, they're unstoppable. And then you have mutable people, which are so easygoing. They just flow through life, and they're the kind of people that go, I don't mind what we do today. We'll do whatever you want. Whereas a cardinal person's going to go, I want to do this. The fixed person's going to go, I always do this, and this is how we're doing it. The mutable person's like, I'll do whatever you want.
I know what I want to do.
Exactly, me too. I know what I want to do with my time. I'm similarly cardinal.
And yeah, I don't like that. What was it? You said the opposite to the cardinal.
What, mutable?
Mutable. I don't like that airy fairy wishy-washiness.
It's going to come out in grades. It's not as, anything in this is not as clear cut because there's all these different other aspects that feed into someone. They're not just, and that's the problem with astrology. It gets this reputation as just being sun sign because that's what's in the press. But they just had to cut it. They cut it right back, and it's so interesting, the history of astrology, how it's like basically fell out of fashion, but it was very closely associated with the arts, with maths, obviously, astronomy, and then it all got separated, and it's been allowed to exist just in sun sign. And people say, well, how can I be relevant when, you know, you're giving me 12 opportunities to describe my personality? And yes, of course, how can you, because it's just one side. And that might not be, just because your sun sign's in a certain sign doesn't mean you identify with that sign. It might be your ascendant that you're more kind of closely identify with, and in later life it will be where your true node is. But for someone that is cardinal, having a mutable relationship with somebody else is much easier, because you can't have two cardinal people in a relationship with ease, because then everybody wants to make the decisions. Whereas if you're in a relationship with someone who it matters less to, they can go along with you. Everyone's really happy. Does that make sense? It's much more balanced.
Yeah, because that's what worked with David. He would just go along with what I wanted, unless he really wanted something completely different. But most of the time he didn't.
Exactly. And that's why it worked. And I bet the times that he wanted something different, you didn't mind giving him something different because it was so infrequent that it was worth the compromise. Whereas if it was all the time somebody going, I don't want to do this, you'd be like, hang on a minute, you know, and they'd be complaining to you. Like, I'm in a relationship with another cardinal person, and I can say to you, like, hands on heart, it's very fiery. Yeah. Is there any other questions you want to ask me about astrology?
Oh, yeah. Let me get my brain working. It seems to have stopped again. So what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks astrologically? Because we're about to hit this new moon, you say, and that is on Wednesday, right? Tomorrow. If it was anything like the last moon, I think I might just dig a hole in the ground and get in it.
Well, that's what you are, you know, this energy under Elder Moon is very much retreat and self-introspection. Elder gives us the protection to do that journey with safety, also helping us to find the truth within ourselves of things we want to be thinking about manifesting for next year. The fact that there's no moon in the sky and you're ruled by the moon will be another reason why you don't particularly like this time, because your basically ruling planet is no longer there. Everybody has a ruling planet. Which can be is calculated, and that plays another influence on who you are and gives you another character insight. So that's why new moons can make people feel a bit lost sometimes, because it's just simply not there in the sky. And so you have to, once you know that, like I don't like it when the moon's not there either, but now I know it's not there, I'm okay with it, because knowledge makes me able to counterbalance the imbalance, if you see what I mean, by looking after myself and being safe. So we've got that, and then we have obviously winter solstice coming up on the 22nd of
I can't wait for
December.
I prefer that to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't talk about the full moon because we'll do that another time, but that will be coming after this new moon. But this is the last moon cycle of the traditional year. So I think that really the energy is to kind of be clear about your own truths, take action where action is needed. There is energy for change and action as long as you can be honest. Elder offers the healing energies, so you can heal traumas once you understand them and then let them go, release them, so that you leave them behind in 2023 and don't carry them forward. But don't beat yourself up, because some things you are not going to be able to process in their entirety, and you have to self-accept. There's got to be love and softness and gentleness in all of that, to just do the best that you can. I think that's really what it's all about with this life, is not being too harsh. And the Sagittarian energy might make some people feel really self-critical because they don't feel free. Sagittarian energy is very much about freedom, choice. They feel trapped, and so you've got to look at the ways in which you feel trapped and work out, are you truly trapped, and what can you do about it? So if you've got any kind of that energy flowing around, just know it's your message to yourself about what you need to change.
Do you think there's any particular astrological influences that are affecting us on a global level at the moment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, there's a lot of things going on. So
So
okay.
Is it like because I was thinking, there's an erosion of freedom of speech with like cancel culture. What astrological sign would be influencing that? And
What, the erosion of free speech?
yeah.
Well, it's basically there's this. Pam Gregory explains this beautifully. There's a whole kind of emphasis at the moment on like the government. Uranus is in Taurus, so there's kind of like Taurus is structures and rules and doing things like this. Saturn is influencing all of this as well. It's like trying to trying to maintain the control they've had over us for a very, very long time. And Uranus has come in and it's shaking it up and it's going, we're going to do things differently. We're not going to do this anymore. Neptune's in Pisces, so people are able to dream and kind of, see kind of Pisces as kind of aspirational dream energy. And so you've got this kind of threat to the establishment, which is going on. And then you've got all this light stuff going on at the same time. The light awakening, the age of Aquarius, all of this kind of clashing energy. So the darker side is getting darker as a fear, basically, to try and maintain and control. So it's trying to do everything it can to kind of contain the light and hope and expectation and the dreaminess and all that. And so the job we have is just to stay on the kind of keep birthing bright ideas and kind of futures and just keep our own power, which is why we need to work on ourselves to clear out ancestral traumas and karmic things. There's a lot of that going on in this lifetime. You may find that a lot of your past lives are coming up in this lifetime to be understood and then cleared. I'm doing a lot of work with people over that actually, so that we can, as a kind of human race, be lighter, because we've become really, really dense, which was always supposed to happen as well. It's not like we've done anything wrong. This was just always going to reach this point. The Mayan calendar said 2012 as our kind of end of time. It's the end of another kind of this 24,000 year cycle. And we begin a new cycle towards the light. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know I've answered that in quite a wishy-washy way, but I see it that way.
I didn't see it as wishy-washy.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because I didn't talk in specifics as such, but
Yes, I'm pleased that the darkness is being challenged by the light.
well, it is, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It has to be, because it was always going to be like this, because change is never taken very well. Change is needed, and we have to be forced into change a lot of times, because we're creatures of habit. You must have heard that expression a lot. We're creatures of habit. We like things done the way we're done because we're fearful of change. Not all of us are fearful of change, but a lot of people are, because they understand that anything new or different is something to be scared of, and that's the culture that we've had imposed upon us for thousands of years now. We've been disempowered to the point where we can't cope with anything changing.
Yes.
And if we reclaim our power and realise that we can be agents for change and manage our own change from inside out, then there's nothing to be fearful of at all. And then people lose their power over us on all levels, because we can't be controlled through our own fear.
So release fear, stand in the light.
Yeah, or stand in your own power, basically.
I was just about to say that.
Stand in your own power and
Stand
work
in your
out who
truth.
you are.
Yeah.
Darkness and light, and accept all of it.
So I had an experience the other day, and I'm not sure whether it's connected to astrology or a moon cycle, because I'm often not very comfortable on the waning moon and the dark moon. I'm really happy on a full moon, or can be happy on a full moon, depending where.
And a
it's
waxing moon, because
and
that's
a
your
waxing
energy's
moon,
growing,
yeah.
and then when your energy disappears again, because you're ruled by the moon, I'm not surprised.
But on a waxing or waning moon, I always get them muddled up. I'm more likely to have visions. And I had a very, very powerful vision the other night. It always happens around the same time. It's usually between 3 and 4 a.m.
So the liver, so to do with emotion like anger, okay.
I am in like a half sleep and aware that I'm not asleep, but I'm not awake. And I can often go out of body at that time. And I found myself with a large pink metallic suitcase standing at the local train station on the walkway. And a man walked up to me and he gave me a message for a friend. And it said that she needed to move forward with her divorce and she needed to do it quickly. The guy was small with darkish roots, blonde tips on his hair, really chubby little apple cheeks in a slightly 80s style. And I relayed the message to my friend and a description of the guy, and she sent me a picture and it was him. And
who was he?
He was a friend of hers that died in 2020. He had moved to another country and he had died through alcoholism and drug addiction.
Right, okay, so he came and told you, so you
Yes.
passed it on. That's brilliant.
And she's taking action.
That's brilliant.
So
What's your question?
what's my question?
That sounds fantastic.
I think it's more statements. I'm just a little bit blown away by the psychic power that I am starting to channel because I'm engaging with astrological practices, turning the mainstream media off, stop being dumbed down by the matrix that they have in place to keep us passive and in fear.
Yes. And that, you see, all of these things, the ability to have these prophetic dreams, tap into the Akashic records, which I regard as like the library of the collective human consciousness and intelligence in the sky. It's all accessible to all of us. None of us have any more right to it than any others. It's just a matter of practice. And as you said, turning down the other external influences, silencing them as much as possible so you can actually have the space in your own mind and consciousness to allow these messages in. It really is that simple.
Yes, it really is that simple. And, you know, I've done a few practices recently. I did a shamanic journey. I had a dark entity removed. And that entity hasn't only been removed from me, it's been removed from my mother and my brother, and I hope mine and my brother's children, and it will be removed generationally from here on in.
Absolutely.
So the children can come to the light.
Oh yeah, and children have more light naturally. We're born with light. We get it dimmed, and the dimming starts from a very early age when we tell them to stop talking to imaginary people, or that fairies don't exist. Magic is a concept, not a reality.
Do exist.
All of it exists, and that's where we're moving back towards.
See, now some people will be watching this and saying, Lucy just said, I believe in fairies, and I do.
I do.
But they probably think, she's nuts. But that is the social conditioning.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And, you know, we are returning the power to those skills, returning the respect to those skills, all of the Clare skills.
And we saw a fairy, didn't we, on the summer solstice?
Yep. I have 4 that are around me all the time. The little fairies. Right. So, if you want your chart read, let me know.
Give Claire a call. She'll help you wake up and release your psychic powers.
Promises, no, but it's true.
And then, yeah,
If you have any,
I'll take you out on a dog walk and we can go find some fairies.
Yeah, so if you've got any other questions about this or anything we said that doesn't make any sense, which could possibly be possible, then just put them in the chat box and I will do my best to answer them.
I like to finish just with a question to my co-host. Who do you admire in society at the moment?
Oh. In society, so do you mean someone...
So maybe someone that's a social commentator, someone that's coming up with some great ideas that may shape our futures.
Pam Gregory and Daniel Scranton.
Okay, cool. And why?
Well, Pam, because she's an amazing astrologer and she talks a lot of sense. I do feel that sometimes for the layperson they perhaps won't necessarily understand it because it's very complex. She's a real master or mistress. And Daniel, because I've had direct experience of him and he is a brilliant channel for alien races. And I tend to only value people that I've had direct experience with. I don't have a lot of time to follow anybody and I don't tend to follow many people because I believe all the wisdom comes from within. So I get messages all the time from my guides and I don't mean that arrogantly. It's just the fact that I get told what I need to know and I'm quite happy with that. Who do you admire?
A friend of mine called Carly Stewart. She is an excellent dog trainer. She's
Is she in society though? You said
the
in society.
canine society.
Oh, okay.
Which is really important to me. She's someone I aspire to be more like in dog training because the way that animals respond to her is beautiful. And as luck may have it, she will be coming on to Wise Women to talk about animal nutrition, XL bully bands, and general dog training influences.
Interesting.
So this will be great.
Fantastic. Okay, so I think that just about wraps it up.
That wraps it up for today. So if you like what we're doing, like and subscribe. If you don't like what we're doing, subscribe anyway. Ask us questions. I'm happy to answer them. So is Claire, and Cosmo may help you.
All right, take care.
Bye.